These people can't behave. All the way from sunny Southern California, 32 million homes across the country and counting. You're watching the world's first social television network. Check out u2america.com for your local listings. I'm Dr. Gina. Welcome back to America Trends. Our poll question today: should Americans on a terror watch list or no-fly list be banned from purchasing guns? You can vote in that poll right now, yes or no. Go to u2america.com or use the U2 America app. It's available for both your Apple and Android devices. You can download it too if you haven't done that already. Now, Donald Trump ups the ante just about every time he actually opens his mouth. And something he said at his North Carolina rally is trending today. He called on Bill and Hillary to return some of the very shady donors' money.
We want to live in a country where gay and lesbian Americans and all Americans are safe from radical Islam. Now, Hillary Clinton talks about women, and she talks about how she's going to do. She plays the woman card more than any human being I've ever seen in my life. And yet she's taking $25 million from certain countries, and much more than that when you add it up, that treat women horrendously, that kill gays. And you know what's going to happen, folks? And you know what we're going to do right now? Let's call for Hillary and Bill Clinton to give back the $25+ million to the countries that we're talking about.
Well, back with me to discuss all of this is Barry Nussbaum. Barry, not only this, maybe she should return the money that she's taken from the gun companies, the gun manufacturers who produce the very guns she's talking about, giving lip service to actually banning. There's a lot of money. And then there's the Wall Street money. She won't disclose the speeches that she gave, the transcripts from the speeches. There's a lot of really questionable money surrounding Bill and Hillary just in recent years. That's if you don't go back. If you go back, it gets all kinds of scary. But I think this is a good tack on Donald Trump's part. What do you think?
Oh, man. I could talk on that question for an hour and a half.
Well,
but to
you've
start
got 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll cut it down. On the first part, I think he's got a really good point, Gina. The radical Muslim countries that have purported to be America's friends are the exporters of radical Islamic ideology.
Right.
Wahhabism has been around for decades, coming out of Saudi Arabia, and it's being exported to the United States in our universities and in our corporations and through donations to the Clinton Foundation. Yeah. They are horrible to women and gays and anybody that is outside of their very narrow, these are the people we like, parameters. And she's taken tens of millions of dollars into the Clinton Foundation while she was Secretary of State, while Bill was running it, and taking this money in. And he makes an interesting point. How do you trust somebody who has 2 or 3 masters? At some point, there needs to be an investigation. When did the money come in? And at the same time, who was lobbying the State Department while she was running it on policy while the Clinton Foundation was taking in big money donors?
If the situation were reversed and it was Donald Trump and he had taken into his own foundation, which, by the way, she keeps 80% of the money that the Clinton Foundation makes, and she and Bill and Chelsea do charitable things with the money. That's how it's a charity, right? But so if the situation were reversed and Donald Trump had taken money from governments that stone women to death without a trial, that don't believe women even have standing in court, that don't allow women to be educated, don't allow women to drive cars, think that gays should be killed for being gay. The list goes on, are completely anti-Semitic. Don't you think that there would be such unbelievable outrage that Donald Trump would somehow be recalled in this moment just for the things that Hillary Clinton has done in taking money and padding her pockets with Clinton Foundation money?
I find it distressing beyond belief. It's as if the progressive ideology that supports her is blind to the political facts on the ground.
Yeah.
There's no logical explanation to your question, because your question is absolutely the question the press ought to be asking constantly, and nobody talks about it.
Right.
Nobody. These are people that live in the 8th century. At least in terms of women's rights, gay rights, political participation.
Yeah.
They have no democracy.
Well,
they
and
are
every time-
military dictatorships.
And every time, Barry, they talk about religious tolerance as if Islam is a religion and not a political ideology. Because to me, when it says our religion trumps your constitution, all of a sudden that's not a religion anymore. That's an ideology. Nowhere in the Torah does it say that. So if Obama and Hillary are going to be on such a tangent about religious freedom and about how we shouldn't discriminate, why don't they have a problem with the governments that Hillary accepts money from, who are wholesale anti-Semitic, and they're okay with Islam?
Not only okay with Islam, they seem to be apologizing for it. You know, going back to the last segment, Dr. G, where Obama talks about what do those words matter? Why is radical Islamic terrorist so important? It's not important for the reason he said. He said something astoundingly disingenuous later in that speech. He said something like, well, is this going to make the terrorists like us more? No, of course not. Who cares what they think? They want to kill us. The reason we know that is because they say it every day and they kill us as many times as they can. Right now, there's a major terroristic attack on our soil against innocent Americans every 90 to 120 days. Those words are critical. Because they will unleash a war against the people who are vowed to kill us, change our government, and put the Islamic flag over the White House. They want a caliphate here. That's their goal and their mission.
They say they have a caliphate here. I mean, that's one of the scary things, is they're already calling it a caliphate here.
And our response is, oh, well, that's the work of a madman, or that's the work of workplace violence, or that is something that was just a personal vendetta. The reality is they are recruiting soldiers to kill you, me, and our kids as fast as they possibly can. And the major response out of both Hillary and the White House is, this is why we need gun control. As if gun control would stop terrorism. Remember, the worst terroristic attack in the history of the United States was 9/11, and it was accomplished with a couple box cutters and some knives, right? There wasn't a gun in play. There have been a number of those.
Paris, Belgium, I mean, none of those.
Talk about Paris.
And
it has the strictest gun control laws on the planet, and those people were being mowed down. What happened in other places without guns? It's not the guns, it's the terrorists. We need to declare war, because we are at war whether we talk about it or not. And the longer we wait, we're going backwards.
You made such a great point about Japan that we wouldn't have said, well, a lot of the Japanese are very nice, and we can't turn on them just because of a few radical Japanese. You know, we just did what it took to do because it was war. You mentioned also the father and how obviously it seems as though he knew something. I believe we know that the wife knew something. Donald Trump said during his campaign time that we should investigate families of terrorists and hold them accountable for the terror that takes place. There was such outrage from both the right and the left. Was he right?
You know, he is right, but it's going to take detail. You talk about the wife. She's a Palestinian American. She knew they were planning something. She went to buy the bullets with them. CBS released a video today that shows her buying bullets for her husband, with her husband, to kill our people.
Exactly. Barry Nussbaum, I appreciate your brilliance. As always, coming up next, Edward Woodson are going to talk about the Disney Gator attack. Stay where you are.